I'll never forget the heartbreak in a mother's voice when I called to let her know that her child had died by suicide. I'll never forget the trauma in a student's face when they found their roommate after a suicide attempt. And I'll never forget how helpless it felt in the fall of 2014 when these things happened all too often. I was working at a college, and as a part of the behavior intervention team that I served on, we would come together and we would look at students of concern. Now, in any given year, we could expect 1 to 3 serious suicide attempts or deaths by suicide. However, in that fall of 2014, in just half of the time it would normally take us to hit these numbers, we had 14. That feeling that you're having right now, multiply it by 1,000,000,000. We felt lost. We felt helpless. We had no idea what was going on to cause such a contagion like this to happen on our campus. But it did, and we had to try to figure out what was going on. As we followed our processes that we normally do, we began talking to their faculty members and letting them know what was going on with their student. And we asked them, did you notice anything? What was going on? In 100% of the cases, they all came back and said, yeah, I've been worried about them. They've been missing from class. Their work has suffered. Their demeanor, their attitude has been different. And this was encouraging to us because we were like, okay, somebody saw something going on. This is a good sign. And then we asked, what did you do about it? That's where things broke down. In 100% of the cases, no one said anything. They didn't do anything. They didn't email. They didn't call. No referrals. Nothing. Now, I was a different person in 2014. That was 12 years ago, and there's a thing called growth. I was a much more judgmental person then than I am now. And I was angry. I was indignant with rage. If I could have gotten my hands on a couple of them, I probably would be in jail. But as time went on and we got out of this horrible time, my heart started to soften a little bit, and I realized, wait a minute, I know these people. I work with these people. These are good people. They're caring people. I saw the heartbreak on their face when they realized what was going on with their student. So if caring people and good people did nothing, what's the problem? And what I found was that lives are lost at the gap between caring and acting. Getting people across that bridge, to bridge that gap, that was the issue. Now, this gap, it's not a morals gap, it's not caring, it's nothing like that. It's a lack of knowledge, and it's a lack of confidence to know what to do, know what to say. It's myths. It's believing things that we know now not to be true. In this gap between caring and acting, that's where we lose the lives and things get lost. Let me put this in a little bit more context for you, because you may not understand just how pervasive this idea of suicide ideation is. I talk across the country, different rooms, different audiences, different ages, different education levels, it doesn't matter. In every talk that I do an anonymous poll, and I ask people about their experiences with mental illnesses and suicide. The last 2 questions I ask every time: how many of you have thought about suicide in the last year? And how many of you are actively thinking about it now? The first question, it does not matter what room I'm in, 20% of the room will say they've thought about it in the last year. Maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower, but that's where we hover. And when I ask who is currently considering suicide, that number is almost always right at 5%. Let's make that a little more personal. If you can think of right now 20 people that you know and love, that you care about, that you would be heartbroken to lose, most of us can come up with 20 people. Look at your Facebook list. You got way more. Now, if you can make that list of 20 people, I can virtually guarantee you that approximately 4 of them have considered suicide in the last year, and 1 is currently thinking about it. We don't have a lack of care in our society. We don't know what to do. The current thought, the current pervasive model of suicide prevention is focused on help seeking. Person is struggling, person feels suicidal, person reaches out for help. That's what we expect to happen. Now, there's 2 main problems with this model. The first one, we do not live in a society that values help seeking. We say we do. We say, I wish people would reach out. I sure wish that they would have said something. I wish they would have known that they were hurting. But do we? Because if you're thinking about those same 20 people, how many times have you heard one of them say something to the effect of, oh, they're just doing it for attention? They're being a drama queen. They don't have anything to be depressed about. We don't create an environment where it is safe for somebody to come and seek help because they have heard that. I've already told you about 4 of those people have thought about it within the last year. They've heard what's said. They know it's not safe. The second problem is what we're expecting is for somebody who has a mental illness to do something that mentally healthy people would do. This makes about as much sense as me falling and breaking my leg and you telling me you should probably run to the doctor. Let's pretend for a second there's somebody in the audience right now. They're having an asthma attack. They're wheezing, they're coughing, they can't get breath. With the help-seeking model, what would we do? Nothing. They don't really need help. They've not asked for it. Or we treat it like we do other mental illness or suicide ideation, and we say, well, they're being kind of dramatic. There's air all around. Try breathing it. Or we say, they just want attention. Somebody super helpful in the back may yell, hey, why don't you try to find your inhaler? As they're in a full-blown panic attack. These are 2 different scenarios. I'm guessing that most of us would choose the second, which is look around, see if we can find their inhaler. Maybe offer up our own. Look for around and see if we can find a doctor or a nurse, or maybe somebody would even be calling 911. All of these things is probably what most of us would do. Why won't we do it when someone is struggling mentally? One is a diseased lung, one is a diseased brain. Why are we treating it any differently? I want to create a culture where this is what we do. Instead of focusing on the help-seeking model, where we know we are losing people. I want to change that to a culture that values help offering. Instead of waiting for someone to reach out, we reach in when we have that gut feeling that there's something going on. So that's what I did. I created a model that is surrounding on help offering. It's called intervening with ease. I'm very, very creative. Each letter is just a different tool in your toolbox that you can use no matter what is going on. It doesn't matter if you're an introvert or you're an extrovert. It doesn't matter if you know them or you don't. It doesn't matter if you have lived experience with suicide or not. There's something you can do. The first E is to express care to them. This is simple. It's exactly what it sounds like. Let them know that they matter to you. Now, you may be saying, Rikki, so cool point, love that journey, but I, as far as bears are concerned, are more of a grizzly bear and not so much of a Care Bear, so this is a little awkward for me. Let me paint you a little bit of a picture of how important this is. I want you to take a moment right now and think of one person, hit from your 20, that you would be devastated to lose. Now pretend you get the call and that you've lost them to suicide. You had no idea. What do you wish you would have told them? What do you wish they would have understood? And maybe if they knew how much they meant to you, they wouldn't have passed. Now later today, I want you to take out your phone and I want you to text this person and let them know exactly what you would tell them, what you wish you would have said. We truly don't know about if we have tomorrow or not. Don't let this moment pass. But just so you know how powerful this can be, I've done this. Every time I ask an audience to do this, I do it myself. And I was getting into bed one day, I hadn't done it yet, and I thought of this person. And I was like, I should text her. So I did. I texted her and I was like, hey, it's been a long time, I hadn't talked to you. Just wanted to let you know how important you are to me. How are you doing? Really simple. She texted me back almost immediately and she said, how did you know? I didn't know anything. I knew I was fulfilling my promise to reach out to somebody. So I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And she replied to me, I just took all of my Valium. Me sending that text message literally saved her life. She is still with us today. We were able to get her help. But that wasn't heroic. I didn't lift a car off of somebody or anything like that. I simply sent a text message and checked in. Now, you do this later today, and aren't you happy that even though it might be a little bit awkward, it's not in person, it's not in a phone call, we're just dipping our toes in, okay? I want you to get used to expressing care. The next thing that you can do is ask them directly. Don't be afraid to say the word suicide to people. Ask them, are you considering suicide? I'm worried about you. That's okay. There's this myth that if we ask them about suicide, it's going to give them the idea or it's going to make them think that they should. Well, let me ask you this. Are you considering dyeing your hair blue? If somebody asked me that, it's not like I would be like, you know what, I was actually going to go get lunch. That's a better idea. To the salon. No. Asking the question doesn't plant the idea, it reveals it. Now, if you ask somebody this question, you may be thinking, okay, I can ask, but they're not going to tell me the truth. That's another myth. When we talk to survivors of suicide attempts, what we hear overwhelmingly is they never wanted to die. That was never the goal. The goal was to get relief. They were hurting. They didn't know what else to do, and that is the route that they went. Now, if you are brave enough to have this conversation with somebody and ask the question, what you're doing is you are showing them that you care about them enough to push through the awkwardness and show them that, hey, you matter to me and I'm going to show up for you in this way. Now, if they say yes, no one's asking you to be their therapist. No one's asking you to go through and do some Herculean effort. We just want you to be there with them, okay? So the next two letters are for if they say yes. Show up for them. Think of the last time you had something really bad happen. You lost somebody, you had some sort of traumatic event. Who do you remember the most? Was it the people who said, hey, if you need anything, you let me know? We've all done it. We've all said it because we have no idea what else to do or say.
Now, how many of those people actually showed up for you? I always remember the people who show up, the ones who bring in food because I don't know the last time I've eaten. The people who show up and they take the baby and they say, go take a nap and a shower. The ones who pick me up and distract me with something I love just to give me a little bit of a mental break. That's what showing up looks like. And if all else fails, and you cannot bring yourself to express care, ask them directly, or show up, that's okay. That's what that last E is for. That's when you entrust someone else or you escort them to safety. That's it. No one's asking you to come in and be their therapist and fix everything for them. In fact, don't try to fix everything for them. But while they're sitting in that darkness, you can hold the flashlight and not let them do it alone. So let's see this in action. I just got this text message from someone, and I'm a little concerned. Sorry, I've been a little off lately. Feels like I can't get my head above water. Don't worry, you won't have to worry about it for long. If we go with the help-seeking model, what are we going to say? Something to the effect of, "Ah, that sucks. Things will get better. Let me know if you need anything." And now suddenly we are off the hook. But I want to challenge you to go a little differently and use the ease method. Same text message comes through, but instead I say something of, "Hey, I'm worried about you." When you say "not long," that makes me think that you're thinking about suicide. Are you? I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. Let them know that they matter. Be brave enough to have that awkward conversation. Now let's do a gut check. Think back to that person that you're going to text later. Now pretend they're out somewhere and they've gotten into this dark place. And you're not there. You can't intervene. You can't pick them up. But someone else sees it. Someone else gets the text message. But they decide to think it's probably nothing. It's not my business. They didn't ask for help, and they let it go. And now we've lost that person. If your stomach just dropped, good. That means you get it. That means you understand the importance of changing this culture from silence to voice, from assumptions to connection. So I ask you today to join me in changing the culture. Let's move away our focus from help seeking so much to help offering, because kindness changes lives.